of the Delta County Commissioners is being held this date pursuant to the following call. In a letter to the Commissioners dated May 2nd, 2024, and reading as follows. The Honorable Members of the Delta County Board of Commissioners, dear Commissioners, a regular meeting of the Delta County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for Tuesday, May 7th, 2024, at 5 p.m. in the conference room of the Delta County Service Center. Sincerely yours, Nancy Presrocki, Delta County Clerk. Please rise for a word of prayer. Lord, as we begin this meeting, we are thankful for our many blessings. We ask for guidance to help our commissioners make decisions in the best interest of the citizens of our county, and we pray for the safety of our military men and women. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Commissioner Melner.
Here.
Commissioner View.
Here.
Commissioner Barron.
Here.
Commissioner Moyle.
Here.
And Commissioner Peterson.
Here. All right, the order, business of the county is now in session. If you would, please remember to turn down the volume or turn off the volume on your cell phones. Thank you very much. Tonight for our Commissioners' Informational Workshop, I would like to start by calling Mr. Mattson up to discuss the MEEP program and other things. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, Commissioner Moyle called me last week after there was a pretty good debate on the MEEP program. And obviously, I know a lot about MEEP. I think as I told you before in the 3 minutes that I had to come up, Conservation District of Delta was the first one to ever write a grant, but it was groundwork. And then over the years, it dwarfed into MEEP. But some of the things I heard were, I guess, unbelievable. I think there's a lot of wagging going on with MEEP, which are guessing and things like that. So one of the things I'm going to do tonight, besides explaining part of it, I'm going to use Elsa, thank you very much, for the outline, because she wrote an article in the paper. So that brought back a lot of things that were said that I want to hit. The first thing is the MEEP program versus plans. There seems to be some kind of an idea that the plans are written for the MEEP program. Now, that is probably true when it comes to agriculture, because there's so many different things they have to do with wells and livestock and things like that, that they actually hire engineers. And some of that stuff has to be DEQ approved first, and that's done. But I don't believe in Delta County, at least on the forestry MEEPs, because I was involved in almost every single one since the program started. There used to be agricultural MEEP, and then it went to forest, habitat, and wetlands. And those plans are written independent. Now, you have to have a plan to get into the MEEP program, but those plans, which I reviewed and Holly reviewed when we went out, we both went out on almost all of those, Lindsay did it the last year, were written way before the MEEP program was even brought up, and they were written on landowners' goals and objectives for just to have a plan or to get into other programs. So there's a real bad misconception there, and those plans were turned into this county. And the reason is, I wrote them. And I think maybe with the commissioners that are on here now, I know Commissioner Mellner was on a few years back, but it was probably 5-6 years ago, so I can't remember if he was on there, but I know Commissioner Moyle was. But basically, those plans came here, and then they were turned over to the county. So those plans are the people's plans. The county has them somewhere. I don't expect Ashley Young to know where they are. She's basically new, but somewhere they're there. And so the county has the Fuller, Pioneer, Rapid River Falls, Sac Bay, and the county forest. And I'm sorry if I forgot one, but I think that's it. Fish Dam had already been sold, and there wasn't a plan done out there. So if anybody wanted to FOIA, you're not going to get them through the MEEP program because they are confidential. But the county has them. And now the county has them for sure, from what I gathered last Monday night. So those plans are written for that purpose. The other thing you're going to see if you do FOIA, or you do get a hold of those plans, they're not recreation plans. When the MEEP went in to do the county lands, except for the forests, on all the parks, only the timber part, the timberlands, were meet verified, not the recreational parts in each one of the campgrounds. That could have been done, but that involves a lot more, like looking in the shops and everything else. So the one at Fuller seems to be in question, so I'll just talk about that one. As you're gonna notice, I didn't say when, I didn't say where, but you're gonna see a map attached to that for a timber sale. And yes, it's in the cedar. Why? Cedars could live 400 or 500 years, and they're not that old. So what are they, 150 to 180 years old, anywhere in the Lake States right now. But if you follow how cedars regenerate, what happens, and if you actually go out to Fuller and walk between the highway and that campground, and it's wet, and it's hard to walk in, that area is just like Gladstone. You ever watch when weather comes through? It seems like the tornadoes and the severe winds are in Gladstone. It has to do with the lakes and the bluff. Same thing happens at Fuller. They get shear winds terribly out there and baby tornadoes. If you go in there, you're going to see large stretches of cedar tipped over and on the ground. It provides great bunny habitat. People are, if that's what you're looking for. But the problem is cedar lasts a long time. So it blows over. Some of it sits up, some of it's on its branches. And the reason I prescribed a timber sale there in the future, it'd be up to the county, and that's gonna be a controversial timber sale, you can bet. But other stuff will grow back. But what happens also, I believe the county, at least when the district ran it before, we also had to watch for safety. If you look at every cedar stand in the UP who burnt prior, how does it start? Could be man-made, but the majority of them were a lightning strike to a white pine, came down on a dry year, 2 dry years, hit the ground, got into the duff, and when that stuff gets going, and if anybody wants to research the fire up in Cornell, where they ran for the river, same thing's gonna happen there. How do you get into Fuller Park? One way in and one way out. So you got that campground full in June, July, August, September, October, and you get a lightning strike from a storm, and it goes down, it starts a fire there, and you got a southwest wind or northwest wind, by the time they realize it, how are they gonna get out? So that's why I put it there. I knew eventually, whoever brings it forward, it's gonna be really, like I said, contested, but also the county should consider that. So you'll see those hatched lines. But if you go out there, you'll see many acres on the ground already. And as you have muck soils, very shallow roots, the more the openings, anybody owns land, anybody's been out there, and the wind gets in there, they just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Plus, you'll lose the timber revenue, but that's not a huge part of it. The big thing was safety. So I want people to see that. The other thing was up at, problem you're gonna have at Pioneer Trail Park. And that should have been in the plan, oak wilt. And believe it or not, that was a lot of the problem with the disc golfers. Anybody takes these discs, I wasn't a disc golfer, and we first put it in, I think Frisbee, right? Pick one of these up, they're a heavy Frisbee. So as they're throwing in there all year, and they hit them oak, the little ones, they ding them, and what happens? Just like anything you're gonna ding, the sap comes out, and if the beetles are around, and they go to that, and they came from an oak wilt spot, you're gonna have oak wilt in Pioneer Trail Park. So it's another thing that just has to be watched. There should be all your maintenance there should be no tree cutting whatsoever from April 15th to July 15th, and then you might expand those like this year you would have. And if something gets broke in a windstorm, don't cut it, just go paint it. But that's the seriousness about that. So those plans were written based on that. But there was no active timber sale proposed for Pioneer. There was no active timber sale proposed for Fuller, just the idea, except on the west side of the road, and also your timber has not been cut at Rapid River Falls Park since 1988 when I first started. So that's quite a few years too, and you have balsam problems up there and spruce problems up there, so that probably should be looked at. So those plans were written for that reason. They weren't written for recreation or anything like that. So how does that come into the MEAP program? So I was the one who went to Holly and I said, let's put the parks and get some credibility to Delta County and the forests, because it'd be the first time in the state of Michigan that a county had their land certified. Good thing. And when these things get certified, usually in a forest program, you go out, you look it over, and there's 3 steps. They used to have a MEP program where you came in and MEP was explained to you, and they called it phase 1. Now MDA will allow any program that you go to, an outreach program, a demonstration that has to do with anything in conservation, you can count that as phase 1. Then phase 2 is where the MEP tech, regardless of who they are in the state, and also the forester, if it's forest lands, get together and they go out and they look it over and they see if there's any things that are happening environmentally that aren't good. Okay? Then you notify the landowner and you say, you got to clean this up, you got to do this, that, if you want to proceed ahead and meet. I would say the ones that are written in Delta County, Schoolcraft, where I did most of it, a little bit in Menominee, 0.5%. Otherwise, like I said, farming's a little bit tougher because there's a lot of regulations. But with the forests, people are pretty much up here managing environmentally. And it's based on their plan, their goals and objectives. So that's why the county has theirs. They were the landowner. And those plans are brought in and used, but they don't have to be retained. They stay with the landowner. But there are some that Holly did collect that are, in files and kept confidential. So like I said, if you want a plan for the county, just request it from the county, not through MEP or the district. Some of the things that were said, there is a confidentiality in MEP, but not in the rest of it. So I just want to kind of go through this article a little bit, and then, when I'm done, if you guys have any questions, but I know there was a comment made here that go ahead and ask MDARD all you want, but they're not going to get involved with this. They're not interested. That's not a true story. Of course, MDARD is interested in me. Then it goes down here further, and it says, Commissioner Bob Barron saying the district potentially violated confidentiality requirements and at Kaplan's behest discriminated against the county as a landowner enrolled in the program. The good thing that came out about that, I did attend one of the district board meetings here, I don't know, a couple months ago, and MDARD did come in because there was a question. Not only the MEP tech and the MEP verifier, and of course the landowner, right? On a normal situation, here it's the county. That's all held very, very confidential. So could a board member look at the stuff from the MEP in the office? And the answer came back, and I don't think it was ever asked. Came back from MDARD, yes, you can, but you have to keep it confidential. The question through this was there anything stated about individuals who are in the program or getting into the program that would have to have clearance for that MEP tech to go and work with them versus just doing it like they normally do? So that was the question. And then the map came up. The original map for the recreational project, I think was 3 years ago, could have been 4. The new one, I'm talking about at Fuller. Holly's a great map maker. So I was in charge of the district, the parks, so she drew up that map. And because the county was in MEP, she can do that. Any employee, unless things have changed, I checked with MDARD the other day, it's the same thing as it's always been, but it is up to a district. So if the current district board does not want their employee doing things like that, then they're going to have to tell them straight out. But the way it's been for 35 years when I was there, every single employee, depending on their talents, can service a landowner who's requesting service from the parks. So the original map that showed a little pavilion, if I remember, in a parking lot, I'm not even sure if it showed the pavilion, to be honest, I think it did, was 3-4 years ago, and Holly drew up that map. So Mr. Wary took over the parks here, I think, January 1 or 2, or right in that narrative. So this was something that was proposed from individuals within the park, camp hosts, everybody. Picnic area was put in, very small, well, this was an expansion. Very much wanted by the recreational users in this county. So Steve gave me a call, I don't remember if it was February or something, he said, do you have access to that plan? That map. And I said, no, I don't work for the district anymore, I'm sure it's there in the computers. But I said, I'll check for you. So it wasn't Rory Mattson going back in as the CEO from before and telling Holly, you need to do this. It was Rory Mattson as a resident of this county, knowing who did the original map and finding out if it was on the computer and asking her, could you update it? And then she got with Steve, they updated the map, 100%, just what Holly had done for the past 18 years, especially since it's under MEAP. But could she help with a map to a resident who comes in? Of course, doesn't have to be MEAP. But when she does the MEAP program, it doesn't end, and I see that in here too, there was a statement made, it doesn't end when you're verified and you don't work with that landowner again for another 5 years. I hope the current board doesn't move in that direction, but I guess that will be up to them. And I don't mean you guys, I mean the Conservation District Board. So that's how it was there. I did find out that Holly still had it, asked her to get with Steve and update it. She did, and then it was turned over to Steve, and that was what was presented, I believe, on February 2nd. And that's how the district has always worked and hopefully continues to work that way. So that's kind of that. There was something in here that I just want to do for also in the papers thing. It says, the MEAP program allows landowners who are out of environmental compliance to come into compliance with best environmental practices by following plans verified by the state every 5 years. That's true for agriculture. Because like I just said, normally a forest land is not out of compliance. And so the reason Fuller Park can put in that project or any other project they want while they're under the MEAP program, as long as they use best management practices, as long as they try to use information, the best technical assistance they can get, consultants, wherever. And if you remember here at this board, there was a big part, you heard from many people, said it can't go in there because it's wetlands. It's wetlands. Well, obviously, the county did a great thing. Asked DEQ to come out. DEQ came out. And I apologize, I'm old, so I say DEQ, but it's Eagle. So if I say DEQ, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, so they went out, my understanding, and they looked it over, and I believe, I heard, because I was here, you heard Mr. Wary say, you got a project. So that indicates that it's not all wetland. And probably, maybe 5% of it is, there isn't a lot, depending on what parts they're gonna hit. So any of those projects can be done. Because I'll ask you logically, like I said, I signed a lot of these people up. Then Holly took it from there and I went on to site visits. One year, I think we did 75 just in 1 year. We were the highest in the state constantly on forest MEAPs. But why would a landowner sign up in any program where later on in that 5 years, you couldn't do anything? You'd have to wait every 5 years, or you'd be out of compliance, or you'd have to have an amendment. So it's not even the case. As long as you don't go in there and do something that's environmentally bad or not within best management practices, but you know when it would come back up? Through your next verification. And, I don't know if Aaron Satchel would ever come here, but you'll hear the same thing that you're hearing today. That the plans for forestry in the entire state, and I knew a lot of the district foresters. There's 79 districts in the state. There's probably 30 foresters who do all 79 districts. Those plans were written a long time before MEAP. MEAP was just a thing. And the reason MEAP came in so heavy, tree farm is what they really wanted. In tree farm, you can get certified. Downstate, around Arelco, they're actually paying more for your timber. Up here, they're still not doing it. But so tree farm is every 5 years, MEAP is every 5 years, and it was another good way to evaluate plans that would be written on the private sector that sometimes didn't have the timber type right. And then that would get changed before they would get MEAP verified, and it would go through it. So it was just a good thing. So I explained anyway the plans, where they are, who can get them, and also the plan, because I know there's big controversy about where the plan came from or who asked for it. So again, I guess 3 of us asked for it. Let me see, I'm just ripping through this here as fast as I can. And I talked about what a MEAP tech should be able to do and should not be able to do. And again, unless the district board wants to change it. Again, you can't FOIA through MEAP, but you could FOIA for those plans. And it's true, there was nothing wrong with Joe Kaplan being the chair of the Conservation District to come in and talk to the county about MEAP, right? They got confidentiality, he can look at the stuff, it's the county's plan, and she's your representative. But it was wrong to say that that project cannot go forward. 100%. And I expect, I think, I don't know when it goes in or when it doesn't, but what was approved Monday ago to send MDA the thing, I'm guessing you're gonna get that right from MDA, that any projects can go on, again, as long as, you know, they're environmentally friendly, to make it very quickly. Commissioner Peterson at the end brought up, what about getting out of MEAP? It doesn't matter. You can stay in, you can get out. But I do know right now, I've gotten a lot of calls from people who are in MEAP, the forestry ones, because I did them all with Holly. And there's a huge amount of landowners right now in this county trying to figure out that if they stay in MEAP, will they be allowed to do projects or will they not? And of course, the answer is yes, but county, if, let's say the county was the only one, because that was brought up here by Joe, you know, you'll be the first one, the biggest one. There might be a lot of people exiting MEAP right now, just because of what was basically brought here in this issue. So I'm not encouraging it, but basically, if it turns out that you get anything back from MDA that says something different, and like I said, I've already checked, so I know what's coming back, but anything like that, then automatically, there's gonna be a big exodus. There's probably 70, 75 people who get out. But there's no, it's a voluntary program. That's what it is. It's a recognition program for doing good things. There's two state laws. Right to farm, most people have heard of that. That's why that's so important, because the reason that was started way back was individuals who want regulations on farms, right? And if you regulated a farm to death, we wouldn't have farms. We just wouldn't have them. I mean, putting manure on fields, putting the ash from the paper mill, how many times has that been investigated here in Delta County? A bunch. It's okay, it's ash. P&K. Everybody, you know, all this stuff comes up, it's getting worse and worse and worse, so eventually, that's why they did that. And then when Governor Snyder got in, to keep the program going and not have regulations set, they set a goal of 5,000 MEEPs in the state of Michigan. Now, individuals with the district like myself and Holly had been around, we chuckled about it because that's huge to try to do in 5 years. They never came close. And the UP doesn't have a lot of farms, okay? And that's why, though, forestry MEEPs came in. Otherwise, there was nothing there because they don't really pollute much. You know, I mean, what, you have a skid or something, blow a hydraulic hose once in a while and, you know, things like that, or where they fill up at their residence. But again, that's not the forestry MEEP, that's a different type, where they have gas tanks and things like that. You can get into homestead MEEPs on those, whether you're on a farm or you have a, you know, a big producer. So, it's just recognition. And it really put this county on the map. It was a good thing. So hopefully the publicity now is not that bad, and that's what it is. But there's no penalties to get out. There's no reason you got to stay in. When it first came about, we used to get a magazine, I think, every 2 months or 3 months or a quarter. And it was all about different conservation practices. It was nice. But they quit doing that, I'm sure, because of cost. So I don't know if I've answered every question. I hope I have. But the MEEP program's a good thing. You know, encourage you guys to stay in. And I'm guessing when that letter gets sent, or if it got sent, that eventually MDA will answer it. And you'll find out that you can move ahead with your projects. You can, you know, do those things. But by getting the DEQ out there, you followed everything that you could. And again, you wouldn't have been decertified until it comes up, whatever year that is. So I don't know what much more to say. I can answer any questions.
Commissioners?
Everybody's looking at Steve.
I always have questions. I having a hard time connecting all the dots from when this came about a couple of meetings ago. I just received a letter, if I'm not mistaken, 4 hours ago that was written. And it was written by one of our commissioners. And was that sent? I'm just trying to get some background information right now. Was that letter sent?
Not as of right now.
Did that commissioner draft that personally by himself without any help from administration? Okay. There's a couple of issues in there. I'm glad for the education on MEPS. I knew nothing about it.
I know you had a lot of questions.
You also said that it looks like people might want to pull out because of what's happening on here. I kind of disagree a little bit because the people I've talked to in the last week that have land are looking forward to going into it because of the publicity of how this program can help manage their land. So, I mean, it's probably working both ways. Maybe some will be upset, but other people are looking into it. And I steered them to our conservation district and Heather Leduc, who I feel is very qualified. Matter of fact, some of them that I steered there, they had to go to Menominee.
If their land's in.
Yes, because it's up in Hermansville or something. So there is a lot of discussion, which I think is helping us understand everything. The other thing,
Steve, let me answer that, because there's a fallacy there. And the fallacy is, they're going into NRCS to sign up for cost share. There's no cost share for meat. So what happens is they go in to get a forest management plan. NRCS will pay for that, as long as you go through that process, which is extensive process. So the landowner gets a plan, and I'm not gonna say it's free, but basically, there's nothing out of pocket if you just do that. Then the other programs that they have are direct cost share for projects, okay? They're under EQIP, they call it, and that's doing whatever, forest trails, roads, farming stuff. But they also have a program called CSP. That's the one they're going in to sign up for. Conservation Stewardship Program, because they get an annual payment for 5 years. And it's based anywhere for a minimum of $1,500 all the way up to, I've seen the biggest one in Delta County that we put in was $250,000 a year. Okay, so it's money, but the normal landowner, probably $3,000-4,000 a year for 5 years to plant trees, to put in different things for habitat, all this guy, pollinator, huge. That started, thank you, Nancy, that started a couple years ago. So you get bigger dollars for things that the federal government thinks are real important, right, the bees. So that's what they're signing up for. After they get a plan written on their property, and this comes back, then they're usually approached by myself or Tree Farm, and/or Holly or myself in the past for MEAP. So MEAP, they don't have to get into MEAP to get all that other stuff. But people usually get it very, very confusing until they get into it.
okay, well, let me try to connect dots again. Did we not have on our agenda someone from the MEAP program that was going to speak tonight?
Aaron.
Who?
Aaron.
Is that person here?
No, he contacted me earlier this morning, and he was not able to make it tonight.
Okay, and then you were contacted when, Rory?
Your meeting.
No disrespect, I'm just trying to
I know.
figure out.
No, that's fine, that's fine. Your meeting was last Monday, correct? Like a
Yes.
week and a day?
You said on the weekend, this weekend? you
No,
were-
at the end of last week. I don't remember if it was Thursday, Friday, Commissioner Moyle.
Just a few days ago then, like 4 days ago?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Okay, and then was that information from that guy in our packet and taken out of our packet? Because I couldn't find it again, where you contacted him and said that he was going to speak here.
I didn't put any information in the packet.
Well, it must have
regarding
got,
what he's-
it must have been a separate.
I think I just communicated it verbally
Oh.
that he was gonna
It was
come
an email.
down.
Oh, an
It was
email, see. Well, that connects that
he-
dot.
He is not able to come, but he has offered if commissioners want to send me some questions, and I can forward it off to him.
Well, I'm trying to steer this back to our discussion on March 19th. And all the information you gave us and to the public is well appreciated, but there was discussion and concerns with the Conservation District Chair. I'm breaching confidentiality. And that's where I thought all of this stuff was coming up from. And if I'm not mistaken, I think at the last meeting, there was conversations with our administrator, Mrs. Young, the district chair, Mr. Kaplan, and some other official representative from Meets, that the understanding was that what happened did not breach confidentiality on what the charges were being forwarded to the whole commission. And I guess I could.
Charges.
The charges of breach of confidentiality in the Meets program for the county.
Then we turned around and we voted by committee.
Well, just because we vote something don't mean it was correct.
I'm not saying correct, I'm trying to help you put your dots together, sir.
Okay, well, this dot is, I'd like to ask our administrator, Ashley, again. What I'm portraying here in my statement is it not true that he recognized that confidentiality wasn't broken at that point? Where when you talk, that Joe could talk to you and all that other stuff?
That is correct.
Okay,
But
What does that have to do with Rory?
Commissioner.
because
Beal-
this letter is important and it's a negative connotation on how the board is moving forward. And I think it has to do, I don't know if we're feuding with the Conservation District. Not saying the whole board or the whole Conservation District board, but there's a lot of personal innuendos in here that I don't know if you can substantiate them to be true because they're opinions. They're actually opinions. Did everyone on the board read this letter? We didn't send it, but I mean, have you read the letter? Because it says a lot of stuff in there. I don't know how it can be,
I'm curious what that has to do with Rory right now. I mean, he's up here,
because I thought that's why he was here, to settle
he
our
was here to
dis.
inform us on MEP and tell
Well,
us.
what I
Well,
can,
you know what I'm trying
Right.
to get at here. I mean, did we break, all right, you asked me. You knew what
you
happened. You
guys
felt,
broke nothing. I mean, if that's what you're
did the
asking.
Conservation District break anything?
It depends on, the confidentiality issue got solved by MDR. The district board, you know, the technician for sure has the right to see stuff. The forester had the right to see stuff because I saw it all as we were out there
Okay.
too, okay? So those two were supposed to keep a confidentiality within the district, okay? Managers aren't even involved in that part of it.
Correct.
Okay, so that's Heather's part. And then, so there was a question about confidentiality. Can the Conservation District Board, and there's 5 members to the board, right? Because you've been to the meetings, you know that.
Yes.
Can they go into a meat file and read it and see what's in there? And MDR came back, which I said, that was good, that came back. Yes, they can, as long as they don't go talk about it, okay? Bring it up at a meeting or just talk about it or whatever else. But what was said was that this project would have put the county in violation with meat, and that is not a true statement. So hopefully they've learned from that. So I don't know what that says, I haven't seen it, but those are the 2 things that I think were talked about and talked about and talked about. And then the plans got confusing because someone in Delta County requested plans and couldn't get it, and da-da-da-da-da. So
I thought it came from confidential, internal information that was discussed, like if I was going into Ashley's office and just talking to her, it's not shared information, so, and I don't know if that,
No,
if somebody leaked that,
that is
Who's-
part of what MDA solved.
Yes.
That I think, 100%. So in other words, any one of you commissioners, I believe, and Ashley, because she represents you,
okay,
could go into the Conservation District office and talk about your MEP stuff, not anybody else's.
No.
Okay, then you'd be breaking, they would be breaking. And you can do that. Or 2 of you could go in, right, as long as you don't have a quorum. And there's no problem with that whatsoever. MDA laid it right out, so that part went away. Then what I got out of last Monday's, or Monday before Monday, was that you were told you could not move ahead, or the Parks was told you could not move ahead with that project because, matter of fact, I also wrote it down exactly word for word, but rather than try to find it, is that you could not move because you'd be in violation of the MEEP program. That's not true. So you can do projects out there that are, and the MEEP is not certifying your projects.
Well-
Never they're
well,
certifying your projects.
Okay, can I ask this question, and I don't care who answers it? Did the Conservation District break that rule of discussing what they talked about in private to the public?
Talked about
I can't follow
Private.
either.
No, I mean, did the Conservation District manager or the chair, where was that information projected in public that we can't do what we,
Right here at the board meeting, that was, yeah, right here at the board meeting. It's probably in your minutes, I would guess.
okay.
But it was spoke here. I guess, I don't know where it came from. I mean, it was stated here.
Yeah, it was all new to me last Monday night, okay?
I've got a question.
Oh, okay.
You done, Sue?
For right now.
Okay. So this plan can be reviewed by any member on this board, Ashley, whatever. Can this board?
Because you represent the people.
Right. So can this board direct somebody from outside to go and get this information for us, like that map?
The map was presented to you.
Right, right, but I'm just saying, if we want you or we want Mr. Weary to go and get information on this, can we direct them to go and get it and they can get it?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. The plans that were written by me and the map has nothing to do with me.
Right,
It's yours. Nothing to do with me. So you got to get that gone. And I think that's where the confusion was. So if somebody from the public says, I want that map, before, I think I don't know, I heard they're just getting lots of foils. So it's probably hard. So, but before, you used just to hand them out, right? I mean, the district did too. So Holly creating that map, somebody could go to the district and ask them for the map for the project area. But when you request through MEEP, then all of a sudden it's filed. But those plans are not MEEP. The drawing is not MEEP. And you guys have them all. That was also in here, and I remember that now, thank you, that it was brought up that I think this county or the commissioners need to find out, they don't even know they're in MEEP. Well, how would you guys know that? Some of you knew, that happened years ago. How would Ashley know that? Because, she's been here for a few years, but what, a year now, a little over a year as the administrator? You got to have some history, and that's a problem when things get done. So the thing is, when it was brought here, though, by me, a month or two later, MDARD issues a certificate to the landowner on every single one. Aaron Satchel came right here. I called him about a week ago, and I said, I only got one question for you, because I'm old. When the county, was put in MEEP, all their parks, timberlands, did you come and present that to the board? I thought you did officially, and they don't usually do that, officially from MDA. And he said, yes, I came right there at a board meeting, so somewhere it's got to be there. So the county does know, but again, when you turn over, you turn over, you turn over. That was a nice long time ago when commissioners were on for a long, long time because that history never got lost. So I don't know if that clears any of it up or makes it more muddy. I hope it clears it up.
Aaron did, I talked to Aaron today, and he did state that he came and presented a certificate to the commissioners. You remember that, Nancy? Okay.
So MEEP isn't a secret program. And I hear that going around the county. It's not. That help, or did I just waste half an hour?
Every little bit helps.
Hopefully it did. But you guys, MEEP is MEEP, and all the projects you're doing, the different maps, regardless of who creates it, the plans, they're not MEEP. They were used to for MEEP, but they weren't MEEP. So you have access to them, the public has access to them. So hopefully that helps out the public too, who would like to get those.
Okay, so I guess what I'm trying to think about is that statement, if it was made by the Conservation District Chair, was a violation of the MEETS program?
I don't know if it was a violation. I'm up here telling you that that doesn't stop your program. So
Okay.
you don't have to go get an amendment. You don't have to say, oh my God, we got to stop everything for a year or two. No, if you want to put in, and I think you all voted for that, if you want to put in that project.
Yeah, we
that's
did,
moving
yeah.
ahead, 100%,
It'll be
go.
a part of their 5-year review after project is.
If something was violated, then you would have to, then this little part that Elsa wrote in here, you would have to bring it back under compliance if they were going to recertify it. But I don't want it out in the public to just landowners who in me saying that, you know, hey, you may be shut down now. No, that's not the case.
Anybody else, commissioners? Because I want to see if, once we wrap this up, I see, any other questions to Mr. Mattson regarding meat?
I could spend all day, but I.
Well, you can always ask me too, Steve.
Soil and erosion,
Thank
sir,
you.
do you want to touch base on that or not?
No, I guess I just wanted, I know I got hired 3 times. Once, I think it was 3. Once as a contractor, once as a part-time employee, so I could do it, once as thing. I've never signed a contract. It was just too much confusion. I didn't want to bring all this confusion here and stuff like that. So my understanding now is the road commission, as John has brought up, has been doing it. But now that they're very busy, that I guess, except for signing it, they turned it over to Jack. And I think you got a great guy there because I just listened to the stuff that he talks about, but he cares about the landowner. So this board, I believe, has to make a decision on soil and erosion. So I'm glad, I guess Dave brought it up. And Steve, I brought you on 1 or 2. If you're just gonna go out, and remember when we went to Dickinson County, just to show you? Okay, that soil and erosion person with the county went and issued that permit. And what happened to those landowners? Next thing you know, they put in a lawn, $50,000, and they had to tear it out at $80,000.
Yep.
That's a lot for an individual. Think about everybody here who just owns a house, who's trying to do something good. So I think eventually, once Jack gets all trained in and understands it and cares, you go a step farther. So in other words, what I'm saying, is it going to be a service? Or is it you just going to, issue a permit? So I hope you just don't issue a permit. Whoever does it in the future, I hope they provide that landowner with a service. And Commissioner View wanted to know a lot, so I was even out on your property. And how, we spent a long time. I could have came in and said, yep, put in, where you go, boom. But we went through your wetland, we went through your uplands, we went through everything. And I'm hoping eventually that happens, because that's the service you provide. And in the long run, that's history again. In 2008, 7, when we took that over, it was because Bark River, this county issued a building permit, they issued a septic permit, they issued a well, which the well was fine. And what was marked on all those soil types was 3 feet of black topsoil. Now, I think any of you who've been around this county, if you can find 3 feet of black topsoil, it should be farming forever. So what happened, it was 3 years of dry. It was an old swamp, muck, and it dried out. They built their house, they built their pole barn, they built their garage, they put in their septic and the whole thing. DEQ was driving down that road in Bark River, stopped, cited them for it all. So they were gonna sue the county. I'm guessing they probably could have won. But, no soil erosion permit issued, should have been, so that's why we ended up with it. We made it a service, so I don't care who does it, but I'm just, that's just for Murray personally. Please provide the service, not just issuing a permit.
Thank you.
Questions, guys? Thank you for your time,
Okay,
sir.
thank you for your
Appreciate
time.
it. All right, gentlemen, that's pretty much what I had on the informational workshop. Is there anything to come before the commission?
I thought at the last meeting, I asked for us to discuss some of our accomplishments over the last 16 months. Some some goals that we are looking forward to in the future, moving forward, and our own personal observation of how we feel as a team, board as a team. That's why I was kind of surprised we had to start with the MEEPS program and stuff, because I'm almost positive I made that recommendation.
You made the suggestion, but I didn't.
You didn't
catch any
like it?
Follow-up from anybody. I did your suggestion on the evaluation, though, I think was followed up on our administrator's evaluation. But if somebody wants to talk to what Mr. View is discussing right now, please, you have the floor, or
Well, over the last week, being a bus driver, you get a lot of time to think when you have a good busload of kids. So every stop, I kind of made some comments on what I observed from our leadership, accomplishments, personal ones for me that I thought were fitting. And I tried to focus on the most important things, which to me is the people. I set a welcoming tone for my district all the time. I made myself available for them. I engaged everyone mindfully who actually reached out to me, and I'm still trying to fight some minor battles for them now. And you'll see that in my goals of something that I would like to see us work on. And I tried all my interactions to be done with dignity and respect. That's my own personal conviction on serving the people. I took time to learn the concerns of board members, all of us, and the constituents, and learning my abilities and powers of my leadership role, and try to respect how I move forward and say things. I don't try to be controversial, but I guess sometimes I say things that become controversial on the board, and I'm just sorry that happens, but that's just my style.
We all do that, Steve.
No, I know. I made my summary, I'm just gonna say it, and I wish other people would do the same. I always supported staff's initiative, anything that came from staff. And they had the documentation that I could look at that was brought to the commission that delivered quality services and in a cost-effective manner. I'm pretty much, if you look at the record, I supported that. I trusted our staff, our workers, our administrator, stuff like that. And one thing I always told my constituents, their viewpoints will get heard if they want to channel them through me. And I don't even have to bring their names up. Even if it's the minority or I don't agree with them. Because I think that's important that they're showing that type of leadership. As far as goals and vision, and I have more visions than I have goals. But I have communicated these goals to the proper authorities and mentioned them throughout the community and to commissioners. I feel we need a complaint policy and procedure. I really do. I'm dealing with 5, 6 complaints right now, and I know townships are involved. The county's part of overseeing some of the township stuff too. And I think a written policy would be very beneficial for all the citizens in Delta County. Even if it's to say, well, you need to go to your township first. Here's the procedure. I also, let's see, I like live Zoom public comments. I'm still looking to somehow implement that. And I've also written about social media engagement. We can't control what anyone says, but we can have safety tips. It's just something that a new commissioner comes in and looks and says, well, if you act like this, this might happen. If you act like this, you might, and I brought that up numerous times. I have a vision of countywide government communications. I don't know how that would work, but I've thought about it. I've talked to a lot of people downstate about how they, 2 or 3 cities just combined to do, with private and public investments in cities and townships with a multi-government complex. And I know our service center has been having a lot of work. And if we can start to talk in the dialogue now to move forward with some type of a facility or complex that coordinates all the public safety.
Hold up for 1 second, please. Does anybody else want to, because you can have the floor till 6 o'clock, but then does anybody else want to chime into this? Because if not, I've got to, you're okay with him keep going? It's all right, then. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I mean, this can't go beyond 6?
No.
That's a hard, fast rule?
Yes, it's not Dave Moyle's opinion, it's,
Okay, I'm just asking. Well, I'd like to see us, we have a lot of fixed assets, and resources and services shared. I mean, you can start the conversation and start moving forward with some of these. Other communities have. I'm just looking for people that have that vision to come forward, whether you're in leadership roles now or just our citizens, to show some type of support and dialogue so that we can look into this. It may take 5 years, may take 10 years, maybe next week. Who knows? Depends on how hard we push. And I also recognize that about recruitment and retention, we need to support some type of ideas or policies to keep the best people in our county and to retain them. And there's no disrespect in this statement, but I can always say we need to pay them more and they all need more employees. But the issue is, where does the funds come from? You need to be cognizant of what you say a lot of times, because all the commissions before us, this is what we have today. And I guess the boards have been proud of not raising taxes, but that's the consequences we have right now of not raising taxes. I mean, we feel we have to pay everyone more and we need to have more help in every area, and it may be true, but then we better be working on it. So, I mean, I had a lot here. That's about what I'd say right now on that. I wish we had more time to start this in the beginning, because I would have liked to hear the thoughts of everybody on some of these issues. And I'm not saying you have to believe in what I'm saying or that it's viable, but I'll tell you something, I believe in it. And that's what counts in my position here. And if the people don't want to have these accomplishments, that's fine. And I learned from failure is one step closer to a positive accomplishment, because I've failed many times, and it just ingrains me more to accomplish what I was trying.
thank you, Commissioner. Anybody else, please?
Save mine for commissioner comments at the end.
Very good. All right, anybody have the last call for names, Miller? No, very good. All right, we are closing out of the Commissioner Informational Workshop and now into the regular business. I would need approval of the minutes of the previous board meetings of 4/9/24 and 4/29/24.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Barron, supported by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
That would pass. All right, in regards to tonight's agenda, I have a couple of, find them, additions, if you would. Committee, under committee reports. Please, item 1.5, put the Finance Committee minutes of 5/6/24. So under committee reports, Finance, please, at item 1.5. And under new business, item number 6 would be the dispatch responding professional service purchase. Again, item number 6, under new business, would be the dispatch responding professional service purchase. And then item number 7 would be closed session for the administrator's evaluation. Would need.
Could I make a comment?
We need to
Mr.
get a
Chair?
motion in a second, then we can discuss, sir.
Okay.
So I would need a motion on the floor to accept the agenda as amended. With these-
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the agenda as amended. I would need a second to continue with it.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Peterson, seconded by Commissioner Barron to accept this agenda as amended. Discussion, Mr. Pugh.
Yeah, I would like to cancel the administrator's evaluation in regards to not everyone has turned in the evaluation.
Gentlemen, do you have any other additional discussion or response to that?
I didn't turn mine in, it's still sitting at home.
Well, I mean, if the very least, we could probably, if you wanted to, I mean, this is all, again, for Ashley. Sir, you brought it up last week, and I thought it was a decent idea. What's your, Mr. Barron, Mr. Peterson?
I would like to continue with it. Just because we haven't turned in our evaluation does not mean we can can't meet with Ms. Young and discuss it with her. And whoever hasn't turned in their evaluation yet can get that into her tomorrow.
All right, so for board, that's fine. For any additional discussion, please?
Well, it's a moot point if not everyone's going to be evaluating.
Mr. Peterson's point is you can still evaluate, but he wants to see,
He
he
can.
wants to discuss. I'm sorry?
I said, the commissioners that turned in the evaluation can.
You can,
We can always revisit this, or else we could have something printed so you guys could fill it out then and there, but let's hear from our employee. Would you like to continue with this, or would you like to wait?
It's up to the commission. My only suggestion is if we do continue with the closed session, just to move it
Yeah.
until after public comment, like we typically do with closed session, so that we.
Well, that would, if we do that, then it will be, can the motion reflect a move into closed session after general public comment? Whoever made the motion, Mr. Barron?
I'll
I
make
think you-
the, I'll,
Oh, he's Mr. Barron, we got the motion on the floor, so.
I did it.
Oh,
Commissioner
you,
Peterson.
sorry.
Yeah, I would like to amend it to show.
Okay, reflecting that, and we
And I'll support that.
Okay, very good. Now we have, okay, very good. We have a motion. All those in favor of accepting this agenda as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, very good. 3-2 on that. We can discuss when your evaluation, actually the paperwork comes due. I think you can express yourselves, tonight. That's fine. Under Michigan Open Meetings Act, we will do that under closed session at the request of our employee. Very good. We have the approval of the agenda. We have a presentation of written communications, communications received and communications forwarded. Is there any? Okay, very good. Then we don't need.
Yes, there is.
There is?
Yeah.
I would need a motion to place them on file.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Barron,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Melton. Additional discussion. All those in favor of placing these items on file signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That would be placed on file. All right, very good. Reports of standing, statutory, special committees, and others. Anything?
Yes, it's in your board.
Okay, if gentlemen, we have any information in the board packet, I would need a motion to place those items on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Peterson. Gentlemen, additional discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Well, that would pass. Okay, so we didn't have any public comment on agenda items.
I didn't sign up to, but I'd like to.
Please, please. Good evening and welcome.
All right, Whitney Maloney, Gladstone. So after last week's meeting, I was the one that FOIA'd for the MEAP plan. Per Rory's advice, I then did FOIA for the plan and the map, and was issued an extension. And after Rory's speech, I'm even more confused about the whole situation. Primarily, I'm not sure how the county could follow a plan of best practices for forest management if they don't have the plan. I think ultimately that's the question. If, the forest management plan is presented to the county and certified, then aren't you supposed to be following that plan? And then that's what's used through MEP to certify best practices. So it feels like we're going round and round here, and I think ultimately you should just make it public so that we can all see what's going on. Everything should be on the up and up. I just don't understand why the secrecy if it's just, hey, we have this plan for best practices. We're following them. We're gonna do this project. Let everybody know what's going on. That's it. Lastly, I'm a little confused as to why it was Rory who came up here and spoke. I mean, he's former CEO of the Conservation District. He really has no authority to be speaking of these plans that are supposedly confidential. There's a letter from the Attorney General stating that he potentially violated some laws at his time during the district. And as far as I understand, he's under investigation. So to bring him forward as a commission to speak to the public really doesn't make a lot of sense from my perspective. Lastly, since you added the evaluation of Ashley, I just wanted to go on record and say thank you from a public's perspective. I've had nothing but amazing, professional, wonderful interactions with you and fully support you. Thank you for holding this all together.
Agenda items, public comment on agenda items. Very good. We will move on. You have reports. Oh, we did that already. I apologize. Committee reports. We have the administrator's report. Ashley?
Just a couple topics. We had our first opioid task force meeting. We've had our first and our second. We are working on our bylaws, our vision, mission. There was a couple conversations about survey, community engagement on, yes, we have the sum of money and what does our community need? So just pay attention for some information that'll be coming out to our community when the opioid task force reaches. Also, I went over to Menominee County and spoke with the administrator there. We're looking at moving forward with our electrical inspector. We're just waiting on the number of permits that Menominee County has requested in the past, and that's how we're gonna split the costs for the electrical inspector between the county and Menominee. We did this similar with the building inspector when Dan Menacker was there. And then I also just added some upcoming trainings that I will be attending, just making sure that we're staying open-minded and not just solely focused here. So, and that's it.
I would need a motion to place that report on file.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion. Gentlemen, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. This is- Item 1.5 would be the Finance Committee minutes.
Okay, we met yesterday morning, and the item that's going to be coming up on that will be discussed later in the agenda. I'll move that the minutes be placed on file.
We have a motion by Commissioner Barron,
And support.
supported by Commissioner Peterson. Additional discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that would pass. Department head updates, if there are any department heads who wish to update the board. Welcome, sir.
Morning, gentlemen and ladies. Jack Smith, Delta County Building and Zoning Administrator and Soil Erosion guy now, I guess. Just an update on our department here. To start with, talk again about Rachel Pasco. She has filled in for us. She accepted the position and is doing a phenomenal job. We really couldn't ask for a better person to fill Sandy's spot. So that's going really well. She makes it her own. She's figured out some more ways to make things smoother. She's really good with people. It's been a really good fit, so thank you for that. Jim Shappy is our plumbing mechanical guy that has been filling in for us. Jim is 70-plus years old. I don't know what he is. So we are currently still looking for that plumbing mechanical guy to fill in full-time, but Jim is doing a fabulous job. He works good with the people. He's very, very well knowledge. I mean, he knows, he's forgotten more than most people know, so that's part of that. Commissioners, I just thank you guys for doing your job. Being in public eye is not an easy thing. I don't know why anybody would want these jobs, to be honest with you, but it's a service to the public, and thank you. And now on to soil and erosion. We have taken that over. Currently, the road commission is signing the permits. I am doing everything else. So I do the site evaluations, I fill out the permits, I do the inspections. Nancy from the road commission signs them. I can't thank them enough for their help. They really came through for us on that. Now on to myself. I've been under fire lately from a certain person in our public. I keep hearing the 8 months. You know, there's been nothing done in 8 months on a particular project or a property in his area. So I just want to explain something. Year to date, we have 207 permits through my office. That's plumbing, mechanical, and building. That is my first priority. The people that pull the permits and are doing the correct things, that is my first priority. We bring the permits in, we get them going, I do the inspections. Not only that, it's a public service. As Rory mentioned, I don't just pencil whip permits. I take care of the people, that's my job. That's my first priority, and that's what I will do. Those people, they come to me, it's been mentioned many times, how they thank me for my common sense approach to this position. And that's the way it's gonna stay, as long as I'm here. That's the way it'll be. So in 8 months, this project that was brought to me was a non-compliant house, completely non-compliant. The guy built it with no permit. He understands that. Originally, it was a temporary building while he rebuilt his house. In 8 months, he has a brand-new septic system, a permit, an inspection, and it's passed. 100% compliance with the health department. He's got a building permit, inspected and passed, 100% compliant with the building department. He's got a plumbing inspection and a mechanical inspection that is inspected and passed 100%. He is waiting on his electric permit. What I'm getting at is 8 months is not a long period of time. When I approach these people, I do it with common sense, I do it with integrity, and I help them along the way. Why I'm telling you this is because I am not gonna go out there with a sledgehammer and tear people's houses apart. It's just not gonna happen on my watch. If somebody doesn't cooperate, that's a different story. But this guy was completely cooperative, and now he is right there at 100% compliance, minus his electric permit. As soon as that's done, that house is good to go, and whatever has to happen after that goes. There's another project he brought to me. The guy has come in, got his building permit. I will do the same process with him as I would do with anybody else to make him compliant. This particular individual didn't understand he needed a building permit. The next day after I talked to him, he was in, he got his building permit, he's working on compliance. So I bring that up because I understand there's a lot of different opinions on how things should be done, and I'm okay with that. If somebody doesn't like the way I do it, and that's their opinion, it's okay, I understand that. The problem is, some people don't understand that I have my own opinion, and they're not okay with that. So while I'm in the position of building and zoning administrator here, this is how I'm gonna run the job. It's working. I believe that this is gonna promote compliance with us. I believe people are gonna come to us. It's already shown, year to date, it's 207 permits. That means people are being compliant. So that's the way we're gonna run it. It's gonna work that way. I hope you guys are with me on this and support me. And then, until then, this is how things are gonna be done. So, thank you for your
Do
time.
you have any questions? for
I do.
Yes, sir.
You have 207 permits from the first of the year?
From the first of the year. And that doesn't include May so far. And we are getting 2 or 3, 4 a day. So,
Okay, well, thank you. And I appreciate your, to use your words, common sense approach. We don't need people being tossed out of their houses or their houses tore apart. If you can make a sound decision
Sure.
without doing it.
So
Thank you.
you know what, there's only one perfect person that's ever been born, and he's not here anymore, but he watches over us.
Yes.
I've been at this job, construction work, since I was 14 years old. I'm 50 years old this year. I've kind of seen everything, done a little bit of everything. As long as I know what it was built with, what materials were used, so on and so forth, I can tell you how it was done. So I feel very confident in that, in my ability to do that.
What is the average cost of one of these permits?
anywhere from $225 to $400 roughly for a building permit.
So what you've obviously done has been, because in past years, when we didn't have anybody doing what you're doing, we missed out on a lot of money, I believe.
Absolutely.
Anybody else?
I just want to say thanks, Jack. I've talked to you several times before, and you know I'll back you.
Sure, appreciate that.
Steve?
Yeah, keep up the good work. I also would like a little update on where you are in your certification for soil erosion. I don't know if you're done with it, or if you're just in the training or interim period, or,
So, on May 23rd, I will take the final exam.
Okay.
There's a long list of reasons why it wasn't administered to me. I did take a test that I didn't need to, so I actually have the.
An extra endorsement.
I have the industrial soil erosion permit or certification that I don't need. So on May 23rd, I'll take that final test, and as long as I pass that, then the road commission will be out of
Are
it.
there any resources you feel you need that you don't currently have regarding that?
No, I think we're pretty set. Working with Rachel, we've redone the permits a little bit, made them a little easier to fill out. And as to Rory's point, there again, I will run that the same way I run the building department, with a common sense approach and to work with the people. We're not out here to get people in trouble or to stop people from doing what they want to do. I think that's a thing of the past where people thought that. Even Eagle told me right out, 98% of the permits that are issued are passed. It's 2% that aren't. And there's 2% that you just can't pass. But 98% of the DEQ or Eagle pass their permits. So that's how we'll run that too, the same way.
One other thing, I was at the window one day, I think it was last week, and there was two people, and Rachel was handling them fine.
Sure.
She had no problem at all, never got upset. She was really
She's doing a
good.
great job.
And I've heard other good things about her from other people too, so.
Perfect.
Thank you for your time,
Thank you.
sir.
I apologize, I do have to leave early. I'm on the advisory committee for the ISD building for the construction trades, and we have our banquet tonight, so.
Thank you for your
Thank
service.
you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any other department heads wish to update the board? Hey, Steve.
Hi. Steve Worry, Delta County Park Manager. Just thought I'd update you a little bit on the parks. The parks will be opening this Friday at 8 a.m. And just so you know, that Camp Spot, our online reservations, is doing phenomenal. Lot of bookings. In fact, as of this afternoon, I got 4 calls from people that are coming up here to do some fiber work and stuff. They would like to have a seasonal site. Well, it's pretty hard to do a seasonal site anymore since February 19, we start opening it up to the public. But because of the new rustic area at Pioneer Trail Park, not a lot of people have booked that yet. So I did find 8 sites within that area that I can put a more longer extended stay for these people. And so they're gonna come in around noon tomorrow, and I'll see if I can accommodate them. A few other things is, I got 3 wells that are tested. Both the back tees passed, my startup passed, and the 4th well is yet to be put online. Reason for that being is the power and the water project that we did at Pioneer that just completed last Friday. So all the wiring is done and the water is all finished. Got a little issue that I've got to take and solve with Ashley this week, and I do have to get 30 gallons per minute before I can actually energize the 20 sites. Got a plan, I've been talking with Eagle, and they're gonna work with us on it, and I'm quite sure that by the end of this week, we're gonna have it all set to go.
How are people booking the cabins? Are they?
Yes, there are cabins being booked, and the whole campground is, Fuller is just, won't be long, and every weekend will be booked.
It's a far cry from the sand pit that it used to be.
What's that?
They said it's a far cry from the sand pit that it used to be.
Yeah. Every campground has been mowed, All the debris has been picked up. We were able to get a DR back last year, and what a difference that made. So in the fall, we can start doing the leaves earlier, had a lot less to do this spring. And then hiring my assistant has made a tremendous difference on how quick we were able to get the parks up and running this year. So we went up to Sac Bay and Rapid River yesterday. All the vault toilets are clean. Our shower buildings are set and ready to go. I've got my summer staff all picked. They just got to do a physical, and then I can put them online. Got to do, I think, a training or something, and we'll have that done. One of the last things is Fuller Park project. I've been trying to get this done as quickly as I possibly can. I do have 4 quotes that I will have by tomorrow night for the delineation. And most of them that I'm talking to, it's not gonna take a day or more than a day. I look for the cost to be on the low side, and so I'm hopeful that happens. But I do have interest. We will find someone to do it. Once I get them, I will sit down with Ashley and we will go from there. Once the delineation is done, if the county board is still on board to see this project forward, we will then take and apply for our DEQ permit and also our soil and erosion permit. What I've been hearing from the public, they can't wait for it to be done. This is something that will be done out there that'll be phenomenal for the people that really wanted this day use area. We will have a new playground there, we will have a new pavilion, and we will have enough room to maybe put volleyball, pickleball, some of the things people are wanting to do in the campgrounds today. The one thing that I did hear that was mentioned this past week was, the sad part is they would have no access to the beach. And that's not so. In our Eagle permit, we are gonna have a path right in the middle of our area that's gonna take them right to the beach. Once they get to there, they can go left, they can go right. The only thing that we don't want them to do is go through somebody's campsite. You know, somebody rents that or has a view and they're paying for that, the day use is not gonna be a charge. Unless, which is the next thing I wanna bring up. The sooner I can get this advisory board in place, I really would like to see that happen. I've got a list of things for them to work on, thoughts and ideas that they can bring to the table, but I think that it's gonna be phenomenal for the public because someone from every one of your district will sit on that board. A couple county commissioners will sit on that board. So there is absolutely no reason that people's voices cannot be heard because they can also come to the meeting. They're all open meetings. I look for the parks to do extremely well. And with that being said, I want to thank Ashley for hiring me. I'd like to thank the residents of Delta County for entrusting me to manage their beautiful pieces of real estate. Anything that I'm ever involved in, I will always do above board, and I will always have their best interest in mind. And lastly, I just want Ashley to know what a pleasure it is to work with you. You're so easy to work with. Sometimes that I ask for stuff, you said, well, we'll have to see. You know, we'll have to see where the money is gonna come from. I think we work well together. And as I'm getting to know more of the department heads in the county, I'm gonna tell the public and I'm gonna tell you guys, you have phenomenal people. I'll exclude myself, but you have phenomenal department heads and people at the helm of this county. And so, it's been a pleasure working with each one of yous. Does anybody have any questions for me?
I have a statement. First off, I'd like to say thank you for inviting me the couple of times to go out to the park with you for the electric easement and to meet with the one of the gentlemen who are applying to do the
The delineating.
delineating. I'm sorry, thank you. And being out to the parks, I've been to both Pioneer, all the way through Pioneer, all the way through Fuller, and you have, each at Fuller is great. Got that all cleaned up nicely. The only thing, and maybe you've taken care of that already, is the one tree that's down out in Fuller across the road.
It's gone today.
Good deal. But no, I think you've done a great job, and I've had quite the pleasure working with you also. Thank you.
And it's been enjoyable working with everybody on the board. And the last statement that I will make, I've got high hopes for the next 5 years for the parks. They're already becoming a destination. But what I want to say is that people that work together make progress. People that are divided and just want to kind of pick, we will never get anything done. And at the end of the day, you can lose good people that get burnt out and get tired of the fighting. So let's have a good summer, and we're going to have a full park.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Done with, has any other department heads come before the board? Moving on.
Oh,
Who did I, sorry,
She was too close.
it's only you. Go ahead, I apologize.
It's all right. And I just want to echo, first of all, I want to echo what Steve says about the department heads, working with all the department heads. We do have a really good group of department heads that always have the best interests of the county at heart. And just wanted to give you a quick update. I don't want to take too long. It's a hard act to follow, Steve and Jack, because they're doing a great job. But just wanted to update you on what's going on in the clerk's office. I have phenomenal staff, and they're why we get so much done. Right now, we're working on the JIS conversion. I know it's been, oh my gosh, a year and a half, 2 years ago that you approved doing the conversion, paying for the conversion for the JIS. What JIS is a justice system. It's for the courts. And right now, we have a Justware program, and the rest of the state is on JIS. And so it was going to cost too much money to stay on Justware, so we're converting over to JIS, and it's been a lot of work for my staff, especially my chief deputy, Suzanne Dubord, to work with that. There's not a set conversion because we're the only ones on this program, so it's taken a lot of time. So she's doing a great job, and eventually we will get there, and hopefully it will save the county money once we do that. So, and the other area is elections. This is a big election year, and I'm working on 3 different elections. At one point, I was working on 4 elections all at one time. So, but it's all moving forward, and I meet monthly with the township clerks, myself and my Vital Records elections clerk, Kylie Hansen, meet with our township and city clerks, and that's working out great. We've got so much accomplished by doing that, and it answers a lot of their questions, because elections, especially with all the changes, there's always changes, and it's working out great to meet and address those changes together. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nance. Okay, any other department heads to come before the board tonight? Very good, we will move on.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
can we take 5?
All right, yeah, let's take a 5-minute recess, so you can use the toilet, or whatever else you need. The meeting of the Board of Commissioners will come to order. Unfinished business, there really is none, and so under new business, we have the payment of the bills.
I have examined all claims presented and recommend payment of the following, and that the county clerk be directed to issue orders on the county treasurer to the claimants for the amounts allowed. Grand total of bills was $1,091,012.71. Commissioner expenses, $879.40.
I would need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron, supported by Commissioner Milner to pay our bills. Additional discussion. And then we will have a roll call.
Melner.
Yes.
View.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yep.
And Moyle.
Yes. All right, that carries, and we pay our bills. Front entry, security upgrade and bid opening. You want to read this a bit, or it's in large print, I'd be able to get it, there's no way. That's small.
Okay. Do we, I'm just looking here, all these bids are from John Gartland, excuse me?
There's only one bid.
Okay, so we have one bid on this, and could you give me the amount, please?
Okay, the amount is $51,900.
All right, so this is on the courthouse security improvements?
Yes.
Okay, so we
It's
did.
it's from Roy Ness Contracting and Sales.
Okay, so this is, obviously, we're moving forward with the courthouse security. Questions, or we would have a motion to accept this bid, or what is your pleasure?
So there was one bid?
One bid came in, yep.
Well, then I guess yeah.
Do-
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Do we need to send this for review?
The award is later down. I'll make a phone call with the director, maintenance. Personal event right now, he's a grandfather, second time around, so I'm gonna make a phone call and converse with him as we go about our agenda.
Okay, and just so, put this in
So it'll
the,
be awarded on number 5.
what is this for the public who's not aware? I mean,
So
what?
this is the courthouse security project that we've been kind of talking about for a year. It's 2 parts. It is our front vestibule. We're getting a body scanner and a package scanner in there. We need to make some modifications to the front entrance. And then also, this is the circuit court room doors. We wanted to put some type of, like our key fobs that we all use. But we couldn't do that with the doors that were there, the way they shut and open. So we have to remodel that also, and it's also going to have, bulletproof walls right there, because it is the front, facing the front entrance.
So do you need a motion on this?
Not right now, I just wanna talk about it with my maintenance director as we go through. I'm gonna make a phone call, and then we'll award it, number 5, as long as there's no concerns.
Commissioners have questions?
Do we have to withdraw the motion?
Well, he didn't get a second, so it's all right.
Oh, you didn't?
No. So I guess I just have one question. You were speaking of a wall. Are they putting up a wall to, like, protect the officer or whatever who is there, or what is the wall that's going up?
No, this is like, we're redoing our circuit courtroom wall. So
Oh,
that-
okay.
That big wall,
Yep.
with the 2 doors.
Yep, okay.
We're redoing that. I will, just so the public is aware, there was a pre-meeting bid requirement, so Roy Ness did do a walkthrough with Corey. Security was also there, So they understood what we were asking in the project, besides the attached plans that we requested in the RFQ.
Okay.
Very, very good. Item, let's see, that was number 3, are we on to?
Yes.
Okay, which is the financial year 23-24 HMEP grant agreement. Backup info, yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I was gonna send it
right.
over to Corey right away. So this is our hazardous material emergency preparedness grant. It is an annual grant that we always request. It regards our emergency management department. And we're just looking for approval on the agreement.
I would need a motion to accept the agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Barron,
Support.
supported by Commissioner Melner. Additional discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that would, we would accept that agreement. Item would be the appointment to data, one opening.
So you'll see attached in your board packet that this appointment typically comes from the recommendation of the Township Association, and their recommendation is Teresa Nelson.
I'll make a motion that we accept Teresa Nelson for the data board.
We have a motion by Commissioner Melner,
Support.
supported by Commissioner View. Additional discussion? What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
To appoint
To point.
Nelson. To appoint Teresa Nelson to the data board.
All right, let me,
From the recommendation of the Township
I
Association.
understand that, I understand that. Mr. Peterson, are you cool with this?
Well, no, I'm not. I will not vote for that.
Give me a reason why, please.
Well, I guess it's going to be personal, because she, early on in my tenure here, made a statement that she was going to get a hold of real estate companies that I work with regularly. She was going to send a letter to them asking them not to work with me, and I don't see rewarding that as a good thing.
I understand. I was the one to bring this to light. It bothers me that when a member of this board gets, for lack of a better term, threatened, it doesn't necessarily have to be a physical threat. You know, if somebody says they're going to sue you, well, that's legal. Somebody says they're going to call your boss and give them hell, that's nice, that's not great, but that's legal. But if someone says, and I've been a victim of some of this, and there are consequences to words. That's all I've got to say. If anybody else wants to chime in on this, I have a real hard time appointing someone to one of, the boards are the eyes and the ears of this commission. All right, well, I can see people not getting along even to a point of vehemence. But I have a real hard time with somebody saying that and then being appointed to a board. Anybody else commenting?
It's kind of bizarre.
This has been a bizarre 16,
Well,
17 months.
in my mind, because this is a former commissioner. She served the public. She does have a reputation of good service in the community. From what I've heard and my individual talking with her, she seems to be getting the support of all the townships. I don't think, I know how personalities can get involved, but it should not determine the value she can have.
Nobody's devaluing her as an individual.
Well, you're not letting her serve the county because of a personal issue. And I'm fine with that, but I think that shouldn't affect the rest of us on this commission to take a stance on what happened to one person. I don't agree with it, I'm not saying it, I don't know the facts behind it or anything, but it's right there in our packet why she is being nominated, and I think we should support that. Other people might not.
Classically, we do just simply push that one through. I just brought it up for discussion because I think
I do too. But it doesn't affect my vote and my constituents on having somebody that's willing to take that position on that board, that I should not allow her to do it because of a personal issue.
I hope that you never fall victim to
I have.
that.
I know what you're
because
saying.
It's malarkey.
I have.
Anybody else?
I think we all have, and there's been several times we always say, don't get personal on this. Well, now we're doing it, so.
I respectfully disagree, but that's fine. Mr. Barron, anything or not? We have a motion on the floor to accept Teresa Nelson based on the recommendation of the Township Association.
Like a roll call vote.
Well, hold on, we're going to finish. If he wants a chance to chime in, he should have a right.
Yeah, I'm just,
Well, you use the saying about this personal attacks.
I didn't.
We've endured 17 months of personal attacks.
I
Not
didn't-
not from the board, but here. And
No, don't twist it.
there's consequences for people's actions.
Mr. Chair, that's a twisting of what I said. I said, I'm not going to deny someone that position with the qualifications and the value she had and the recommendation from the Township Association on an individual's comment on how he was or she was treated by each other. I don't care what the people do to us here. No, what I'm saying is, it's not going to affect my decision that I think is best moving forward. I do care, but, not to the extent where if Ms. Melner had an issue 2 years ago with someone, and then that person came before our board and had all these qualifications and was representative and had value in the community, he's not going to persuade me not to vote for her or vote for him. I judge them by myself, by what I've interacted with them, not what somebody else tells me. And I appreciate, because I've talked to you about this, and we had meetings, and
Go ahead, Bob.
Can I make a proposal? I'd like to table this to the next meeting. That whoever winds up on the next board, whether it's
Let's
us,
deal
or
with it.
whether it's us or them, or other people, table it, let them, the next board make the
I have no
decision.
problem with it.
we have a motion, and I'd like a roll call vote, because that'll table it depending on how the vote goes.
Well,
it
no,
won't table it, that'll
if we
kill it.
vote, it'll either kill it or let her be the
He's
person.
suggesting a softer approach.
Chair, can I say something?
Yes,
You
please.
can amend the motion to table it also.
You want to amend your motion to table it?
I don't know, I can't remember who made the motion.
No, Mr. Milner made the motion, I'm sorry.
I'll amend it, table it.
All right. Who seconded? You
That's
did?
not,
You
it's
will
not the way I
amend your
want
second
it
to table?
down, but.
I can't. My conviction is I believe she should have this position.
She very well may.
And I don't think we should delay something we can move forward with right now, at the present. I won't amend it, so I don't know what that means.
We have a, and then I will
Okay.
continue the discussion, which I was hoping that
Well, we can.
the political environment has been chaotic and corrosive. And when I was reading this, you don't have to, I've served with Teresa for a long time.
Okay.
Despite any political differences that we had, you cannot take away somebody's service, and there must be value in that. But I, for one, am tired of this kind of stuff. And the public needs to know about it. And if they want to swing a scalpel or an axe, that's fine, but I have a real hard time. I understand passion comes into this, people get things maybe they don't mean, hopefully. But we've been given a guff of crap lately about the fact that we scuttled the ethics committee. We haven't scuttled that committee. There's been complaints come in. So I just think that if we're going to give ethics lip service, we might want to hold people to a high standard, or if we do approve this, we would do it with the issue that maybe that person might want to get together with Mr. Peterson and talk it out, so to speak, since we're all members of the same community. Or we could simply rubber stamp and give things lip service. But I, for one, am not in favor of that. I think it's called holding yourself accountable. All right, give us a roll call. Read the motion, which would be following the Township Association's recommendation to put Teresa Nelson on the opening for the data board by Mr. Melner, seconded by Mr. View.
Okay, so Commissioner Melner,
Yes.
View,
Yes.
Barron,
No.
Peterson,
Nope.
and Moyle.
No. It may be revisited in the future, as in like the next meeting, we'll see. All right, next item. With the, now, are you ready with item 5?
Yes.
All right, very good, please proceed.
Corey spoke to me and he said everything looks good. We will not need to do any new flooring. He's going to handle the mechanical with his license. He doesn't believe that there will be any type of mechanical. We will be doing the data wiring with Brandon, our IT director. The maintenance will also run wire for the judge's security switch to lock the door from the bench. So it's very straightforward and simple project. So he recommends to award the bid to Roy Ness.
I'll
Need a
make
motion?
that, I'll make that motion.
Moved by
support it.
Commissioner Barron, supported by Commissioner Melner.
Peterson.
Peterson, I apologize, additional discussion, please. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please tell Corey thank you, and that definitely passes. All right, very good. We have item 6, which should be the, it's the dispatch responding professional service purchase.
We took this up yesterday. Ashley, you,
In finance, yes.
yes. And,
And then we also have Jen Peterson, who is our dispatch director, and Holly Cook, who is our deputy director. If you have any questions regarding the,
well, would you lay this out as was explained to us yesterday, because we did not get the,
right, they probably have a better explanation for me. So Homeland Security was supporting our mass communication system. Recently, they are not funding that anymore. We have until they cut us off in June. So this is a slight emergency of trying to make sure that we have enough time to implement a new massive communication system. We reached out to 3 companies. We received two quotes back. One of them is not able to provide the service we're looking for. The Delta County Central Dispatch Advisory has recommended the purchase of I Am Responding. Is there anything else you want to add?
So just to clarify what this is exactly, I Am Responding, and Code Red, which is our current service that we'll lose in June. It's a service that allows us to do a mass notification to our emergency responders. So if we had, a large emergency where we needed to reach a large number of responders, we could get that message out to all of them extremely quickly rather than individual phone calls, or it's sort of a secondary backup to our VHF paging, which if we had a failure with that, we still would have to have a way to reach out to our emergency responders. So that's what this is. As Ashley stated, the Homeland Security Board did pay for this previously for Region 8. They decided to drop that. When we reached out to Code Red, the price went much higher than it previously was. And when we checked into I Am Responding at the recommendation of our fire services, we're getting about half the price of what the Code Red renewal would be. And we get a lot more services with I Am Responding than we would with Code Red, and Holly's got the numbers if you want those.
And all of our fire departments right now use it, and there's nothing negative that we've gotten reaching out to them. They like it, they wanna stick with it, so we have firsthand that it's a good product.
Commissioners?
I could add a little bit, this is for a 3-year contract, and the funding is, it's a cap of $25,000, which should be plenty high enough, what was explained to us yesterday. And also, it's not a budgeted item, but it's coming from the dispatch's fund balance, which is a pretty significant fund balance, so.
We have more than
actually,
enough to support this.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, and obviously, a very critical job you're performing. Commissioners, I would need a motion to,
I'll support.
Mr. Peterson, you motion?
I make the motion, yep.
Okay, Mr. Peterson has moved, and Mr. Barron has supported. Additional discussion? Steve?
No, I love it.
Okay. Well, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Have a fine night.
Nothing negative.
That's cool.
And even the local, what is it, fire departments that are already signed up for this, they will get a proration refund back because they'll be signing up under Delta County. So we're also giving back, to our smaller communities.
Collaboration.
We would
Exactly,
put
exactly.
Item 7 off until general public comment takes place. General public comment, you have 3 minutes to address the board. We would ask that you respect the person up at the podium and remain silent in the audience until it is your time to speak. General public comment, please state your name. Take 3 minutes. General public comment going once. General public comment going, somebody's coming, I hear.
so, standing up.
Sima.
Seema, good to see you. Not that I can see you well, but maybe. Good to hear you. Welcome.
Emma Dietz, Escanaba. I have some worries since yesterday. I don't know how some citizens will react to the election results in the coming days. Yesterday, I had 2 incidents when I was campaigning for my district commissioner, Mr. Peterson. My car doors and the windows were all decorated and getting lots of attention. I stopped in front of a house talking with 2 residents. A vehicle turned the corner and slowed down right next to my car. A woman leaned to the passenger side window and started to yell, vote for Matt Jensen, vote for Matt Jensen. And she was repeating this very loud and over. That person was Christiana Reynolds inside of the car. I thought she was related to some ethical group or she was a concerned citizen for something, but her behavior didn't fit. This worries me because she wants to be our representative at the Michigan State House. Oh, there was one more person yelling, screaming by watching my car going by the Lincoln Road. Her vehicle had 4th District candidate's campaign sign on the door saying, "Let me be your better." How is it going to work? So I have worries. We need to have common sense and mutual respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Seema. General public comment. Please state your name, take 3 minutes if you wish to talk to the board. Going once? Going twice? We have a taker. Bonnie? Welcome.
I want to echo Sema's concerns. And I also echo the calls that we heard earlier, asking for people to work together. And we have a lot of people on different commissions that are working very well, and things are going well. And I would like to commend all of you commissioners for the job you've been doing. It's been a rough term, to say the least. But I would echo the calls to work together and without any attacks on people who are just trying to do their jobs. Personal attacks, even though people say they're not personal, they are personal, and they do have consequences. So we should all keep that in mind as we're trying to work in a civil society. The other thing that I'd like to talk about, which I usually do, is that we live in a constitutional republic, and if we can get back to those roots of our Constitution, where people's individual rights are preserved and protected, each person's individual rights are protected. So we don't have to worry about attacks coming from other people. We can feel safe. And remember that our form of government is of, by, and for the people. Where people with their individual inherent rights, those are preserved and protected. I can't repeat that enough. People have the right to life. Let me say it again. All people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let me say again, life. All life, even unborn. People control their government because our rights existed before government. People create government. Government is our creation, it's our creature. They inform their government, and by following the original Constitution of the USA and of Michigan, we make our voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. General public comment. General public comment.
I think it's time I address a couple things. Rory Mattson, Escanaba. And it was a good example tonight. I think it was self-explanatory why Commissioner Moyle asked me to come up and talk about meat. I'm the only one who knows what's going on, including the people from MDA, and they'll tell you, they have no idea what was in those plans. I wrote them. And, you know, I've watched for the last, I don't know how many months it's been, long time, 15, whatever it is. People come up here, accuse commissioners of things, accuse me of things. I don't know why they're accusing me, but they can. Letter comes from an attorney general saying I potentially violated state law. Interesting. Where has that gone? And let it keep going, but at the bottom of the letter it says nothing. But you know, if you read it, whatever information that attorney got, they didn't have all the information. Like the MOU signed between the DEQ and the Conservation District. MDA knowing exactly what we did, who oversees the Conservation District year after year after year. And the 50,000 that's in the law that you know was never allocated. So yeah, it was put in the law that Conservation Districts, the district would get $50,000 from whenever that started. We never got it. I've been with them for 35 years. Never received that 50,000. So then I see in there too that the district might have to pay back 450,000. If I was the new board, I would write a letter to the state of Michigan and say we'd be happy to pay it back once you pay us the $5 million you owe us. So, you know, people get up here and somebody else tells them something, and then they repeat it. Well, I can tell you this, there are consequences to the First Amendment's free speech. You accuse somebody of violating the law, that's where your free speech and First Amendment rights stop. And I think some people in this county, very shortly, are going to find out what that means personally. Thank you. I don't even need that whole 3 minutes.
Thank you, sir. General public comment, please. General public comment. You have 3 minutes to address the board. Going once. Okay, going twice. All right, thank you very much. We will, under Michigan MIOMA, Open Meetings Act, to discuss and evaluate the performance of our employee. We are going to go into closed session. Is that room open? All right, and so we will return after this, and we will go into commissioners' concerns.
We need a motion.
We need a motion to go, thank you very much, Mr. Muller. We do need a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of evaluating our employee.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Commissioner Peterson,
I'll support it.
supported by Commissioner Barron. All those, do we?
No, roll call.
Roll call, go ahead, Nancy.
Melner,
Yes.
View,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yep.
and Moyle.
Yes. All right. I would need a motion to get us out of closed session.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Melner, supported by Commissioner Barron to come out of closed session. Do you need a vote on that, Nancy?
Just all in favor.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Under Michigan Open Meetings Act, we took no vote at all. We discussed with our employee an evaluation. I can give you a synopsis of that, and then you can hear from Ashley yourself. Each individual commissioner rated her and will finalize paperwork tomorrow. Strengths obviously were an extremely strong financial background, and I think the county has benefited and will benefit from that continuously. Ashley's got a phenomenal financial background, and additional commissioners came together on the issue of incentive. We pointed out the airport and her moving the office out there and doing what needed to be done to make sure that the airport stayed as best we could on a good footing, and then she saw that problem through. She continues to be noted for her relationship with the department heads and to a commissioner, I believe gratitude was expressed on her service. We also agreed that communications could be improved in some areas. These would be areas of need, and timeliness. And certainly that she has come in under a very atypical situation, and these last 16 months have been not very easy. And so I'm hoping that she will have smoother sailing, as will the county. Ashley, you wish to address the public or anything?
Yeah, it was asked of me to discuss a couple items of accomplishments that I feel that I have succeeded in. The first was the Delta County Airport. Within a couple months of me becoming interim administrator, we did have our airport manager leave us and had a new assistant airport manager start relatively within the same time frame. So I was able to go over there and assist the airport. There was numerous things that I had did. I created an alternate method of compliance, which is that AMOC, allowing a larger aircraft to come in. I helped completed the bidding process with the Essential Air Services. I helped train in our assistant airport manager. There was a couple items that we did, but I won't bore everybody with that. The other was I created a new department with the assistance of the commission and the Conservation District we discussed, and now the parks are back in Delta County's hands. So since they are a destination now, and let's keep them that way, and that's what I'm striving to do. Second is updating couple old policies here and there, and I'm not done doing that. And also throughout a couple conversations I've had with our auditors and with some trainings, there are a few policies that I think we either need to create and update more. So thank you, and it's been an adventure with everyone
Isn't that the truth?
for the past 16 months. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Peterson, under Commissioners' concerns, you have the floor.
You know, I had stuff I wanted to talk about, but a very wise person told me that it might sound like I'm campaigning, and I'm not going to campaign here. So instead, I'm just going to thank everybody here. It has been an exciting 16 months, to say the least, but it's been a real growing experience for me. I've really enjoyed it, and I plan on enjoying it longer. Working with these commissioners and Nancy and Ashley has been, like I said, just a real good learning experience. I've grown, they've grown, and I think that in the future, we're going to do great things with this county. Thank you.
Mr. View.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Your words spoken on best attributes that Ashley had are spot on. Also, the weaknesses were spot on. And I believe she will grow tremendously in them areas. And I just want to thank you, Ashley, for understanding how we proceed this way to make you a better leader in our community. I wasn't going to say nothing other than that, but that data board thing kind of became a hot mess for me as far as having people that want to serve for us. And I just want to be careful we take our advice from. And you have to let the past go, because if the past is never gone, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. People learn from their mistakes. And my main goal on wanting Ms. Nelson into that position is, I think we could have found common ground from our disagreements to moving forward with somebody to serve for our community that has served before. So, and I don't want to make it political, but that's just my thinking of that decision that we made tonight. And I'm always self-motivated to take people that want to help us out. Other than that, we have an election, get out and vote.
You have
We got, what, 20 minutes?
Right, you got 20 minutes. That's what,
19 minutes.
Better run like hell, yeah.
Turn on the afterburn.
I don't like change. It's difficult to sit here and not support somebody or support somebody other than I support the people, the voice of the people. I speak for them, even if I get yelled at for it by people
Never
sitting.
yelled at you, sir.
Well, it's my wording to the point that that's how I feel sometimes. It's not a bad thing.
Hollering, yes, it is.
No, it's
I'm
not.
joking.
There's a place for everything, but whatever happens, I hope it's better for the community, and I do appreciate all of yous. And my favorite commissioner is, we'll leave it at that.
Mr. Melner.
Well, last week I went down to the MAC conference, and it was a day and a half, and went to quite a few breakouts, and hopefully I brought back some very good information that Ashley can use. So I give her all the information, so she has it, and she can work with it, and hopefully put something to use for the county. That's it.
And then Mr. Barron?
Well, I'm definitely want to add to the accolades for Ashley in going forward here, and the adventure is still going. So, but I have a few things I put together. It's a bit of a carryover from our meeting last week, Monday. We did have quite a discussion about DEI and a few other things, and I came across a couple of, briefs here. This one's coming from it's a paper I get. It's called Sword of the Lord, and I just came in the other day and thought it was interesting that this little brief is from Washington State Nix's bar exam because of, quote, race-equity concerns, unquote. And what they did here is that the Supreme Court of Washington State has ruled that passing the bar exam will no longer be necessary for law licensure, since such a requirement, quote, disproportionately and unnecessarily blocks historical marginalized groups from entering the practice of law, unquote. Washington becomes the second state in the U.S. to nix passing the bar exam for legal licensure, following the footsteps of Oregon, which implemented similar measures back in November. And the editor's comment here is, whether or not the bar exam needs to be set aside can be debated, but the reasoning they have employed is for, quote, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is our opinion that any student whatsoever, their race, color, or ethnicity, who makes grades sufficient to graduate 4 years of college and 3 years of law school should be able to handle the exam. And this is what critical race theory, its delivery system, DEI is going out there. Another one is the implicit bias training that's being forced on our medical and counselor people by the state of Michigan. And there was another one that I came across, and this one is pertaining to, we've heard of woke, which contains all this CRT nonsense, and and its name should be familiar. The North Face, which is a clothing company, encourages customers to attend diversity training. A large clothing company wants all its customers to attend diversity training and is offering them a financial incentive to do so. The North Face, a well-known retailer of outdoor gear, is offering a 20% discount to customers who successfully complete a course on diversity, equity, and inclusion. The course is to educate customers on racial inequalities in outdoor pursuits. Fox Business obtained further details on the retailer's new discount program. For starters, it teaches that racism cannot be experienced, again, cannot be experienced by white people. The course, which offered customers 20% off for learning about anti-racism for 1 hour, contained elements of critical race theory, according to Heritage Foundation DEI expert Mike Gonzalez. And a quote from Mr. Gonzalez, "It was the longest hour I ever lived." This is something that the people all across this country need to awaken to. And another item that came up last time was about eugenics, and then which morphed into Planned Parenthood. Well, this is how far it's morphed. Just to give you an idea. This is for the Margaret Sanger's followers, and I put a little comment of mine on here, my own, is otherwise known as the Goose Steppers. But this is out of, where am I at here? In Texas. A judge rejects Satanic Temple claim that killing babies and abortions is a protected religious ritual. A federal court in Texas dismissed a lawsuit from the Satanic Temple, which claimed the state's pro-life laws violate its religious freedom. The judge called Satanist arguments, quote, willfully inadequate and deficient, unquote. As Texas passed more and more legislation protecting babies from abortion, the Satanic Temple took action to fight against abortion restrictions. Satanists invented an, quote, abortion ritual, unquote, claiming that killing preborn children is a religious rite for Satanists. They compared it to baptism or communism for Christians, being something essential to its religion. The Satanic Temple claimed that aborting unborn babies is a beloved and essential ritual, and laws that prohibit it infringe on their First Amendment right to practice their religion. That's how far eugenics has gone.
Thank you, sir. Nancy?
Well,
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I'm just getting warmed up.
All right, sorry.
But these are some other quotes I have here. Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Skill is knowing how to do it. Virtue is doing it. Thomas Jefferson. By 3 methods we learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. Confucius. If you risk nothing, then you risk everything. Gina Davis. The absence of alternatives clears the absence of alternative clears the mind marvelously. Henry Kissinger.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So Nancy had to bolt, obviously. You go ahead.
Again, I just like to thank you all, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, or the next day. So definitely learned a lot. I thank Commissioner View for having my evaluation tonight, just because I've worked with all of you for the past 16 months, and I will definitely take all of your constructive criticism and all your compliments forward into next year. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I wanted to answer Whitney Maloney's query about Rory Mattson coming in here. I called Rory because I wanted some information on MEAP. I was confused by it. He came in, he's someone that I've been going to for the last 14 years. The proof in the pudding is in the park. Why did he come in? I think it was brought up like he was tainted, or he's been charged with nothing. He's been accused of nothing that I know of from any prosecutor, or you can write a letter to the AG and craft it a certain way. You'll get a response, and that can be used politically. I don't know if that was the intent in this case or not, but in this country, until it gets changed, you are innocent until, proven guilty. That's when you're charged. Nobody's charged him. And I'm glad you came in to explain some stuff. I believe that there are people who are legitimately confused, and I also, about what's going on here, and I also believe that there are people who are attempting to benefit from things politically. Time will tell on that one. We have a meeting schedule set up of a regular Board of Commissioner meeting set up for 5/21 5:15 right here. Another meeting set up for 6/4/24 at 5 o'clock. That would be another informational workshop. With that, I say God bless you and thank you for making us part of your evening. I need a call to adjourn and we can boogie.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Barron. All right, good night, folks.